Coming from the Truspace, we ain't esoteric neighbors, I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit, now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the Truspace, yeah bitch, welcome to the Truspace. Welcome to the Truspace, yeah bitch, welcome to the Truspace. What's good, y'all? My name is Open Book. This is my partner.
Hey guys, this is Hearth. Welcome back to Truspace.
Yep, and this is your weekly horoscope. So let's look at the energy of the week. Starting from Monday, the 14th, the moon is entering Leo. A little square action with the sun. It's about to go into. How do you think this is going to
So
hit
we're gonna
the
be
moon entering Leo?
we're gonna be emotionally reacting to expressing our vision and imagination in a fixated way or a stubborn way, and that's gonna be against the heavy opposition of Saturn, aka Grandpa, who wants us to see us. He wants to see if we could correlate our visions and imagination with a group of people, aka make ourselves look associatable and things of that nature. But we're having this heavy T square that's gonna go on with the moon in Leo. We have got Uranus in Taurus, the North Node, and then we have this heavy stellium in Leo, really demanding us to understand how to go on the stage since we're closing in this Scorpio cycle. It's almost like the new moon in Scorpio was like you having a new diet. Then the full moon in Taurus was like you seeing the results of the diet. But then the moon in Leo is almost like you go on the stage to show everybody what this diet done for you and things of that nature. So that's how you could think about it. You just gotta watch out for maybe the extra self-centered energy that's gonna come from Leo, but it's gonna be needed because you're gonna have this trine that's gonna be important for you to do with Chiron and Aries, which is gonna allow you to develop further confidence when it comes to yourself and how you see yourself. Because Chiron and Aries, you might not be able to understand how you could rewire your brain and nervous system so you could better express yourself. That's what the moon in Leo is going to be very important for allowing you to push that blood, push your circulatory system to that level and things of that nature.
For sure. To get some type of flow going with your emotions to some degree, whether it be the vocal expression or like your physical outlet, into whatever capacity. Just definitely that push for that with the moon in Leo, for sure. And then Venus in Scorpio making a trine with Jupiter's retrograde motion in Pisces. I think this will hit.
So Venus is debilitated here, so it's very hard for us to find love, harmony within this our vulnerabilities, power and control issues. How can we find stability where there is no physical thing to touch and things of that nature? What can we love? It's very hard to understand that. It's Venus debilitated, so it's very hard for us to really feel it, and it's the late degree. So we're really figuring out how can we maintain stability within, when people say Taurus is the physical body, that means Scorpio will the emotional body. Then Venus is the hormonal system. So it's you learning how to develop stability to the hormonal system as you're reaching those final degrees. And then the turn to Jupiter is allowing us to see some form of mystical experience to go into from what could have possibly all those transformative experiences, the darkness we've been through. Jupiter and Pisces is gonna give us a dream to go into something much more light-hearted, or on the negative side we could create a delusion to go into based upon whether we or not did the transformation that we needed and entire the Scorpio season and things of that nature. So definitely watch out. It's gonna heavily allow you to escape whatever form of vulnerabilities you've been into, and Jupiter is gonna give you more energy to allow Venus to relax a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. Because look at all of the pressure with Venus being debilitated in Scorpio. That trine, especially to an exaltation where Venus would be exalted, it would take a lot of strong will and having a lot of positive expression of Venus in Scorpio, openness to the darker side of your pleasures or the vulnerabilities behind your connections, all of the stuff that Venus doesn't want to talk about, the things that kind of ruin or deep and get to darker aspects of pleasure and your You know, pleasure. What I say? Yeah, your pleasures and your vulnerabilities. You know, your sore spot, your soft spot. It could. You're right. Take the Jupiter energy and go straight into a delusion. Like, get me the fuck out of here. I've been in here for so long. Or it could be like, okay, I've been in here for so long and confronted a lot of feelings and emotions. I have a better concept of how to imagine this energy into something more positive, something more optimistic. So it's a real chance for you to, after going through that kind of awkward struggle with Venus and Scorpio, not, you know, fully feeling able to be sensual, you know, kind of like your hormonal system's a little off. You'll know exactly what it is that you had done that, you know, led you to that point, and what it is that you want to create, for sure, for sure. So that's how Monday's looking. So a lot more creative flows. We're talking about water and the moon entering into Leo.
Definitely coming from the water.
Creativity seems to really stimulate.
Definitely coming from like the water triangle from the moon in Cancer and things of that nature, allowing you to use some fire energy. Definitely.
For sure. So yeah, that's how Monday is looking. Looking at Tuesday, the 15th, the moon is in opposition with Saturn in Aquarius, and squaring the Scorpio stellium, and Uranus in North Node, so it's in that fixed square with all of these planets and all the fixed signs. How do you think this fixed square is going to hit us on Tuesday?
This is basically us seeing the crucifixion of our self-expression, our creativity. Us going through a test of Saturn and Aquarius, which we've been through for a long ass time. A heavy Saturn, Uranus square, really pushing us to restrict and create through some sort of control. It comes to who we associate with, so the progress society, and then us learning how to add a unique value or add originality to how can we make money, develop an asset or a value, really like give it really a form of technology and things of that nature. And then we having also the square to Scorpio, so like this has heavy energy for you to manifest, go through heavy challenges, and it's gonna be from all sides. But these challenges are familiars because you're familiar with Saturn Aquarius, you're familiar with the South Node, you're familiar with Uranus and Taurus. So like and that depends on what, if you did the right transformation in Scorpio season and what you manifested in the lunar eclipse in Taurus, which is very important, because if we did not did that transformation, our physical senses are gonna be so dull and so weak to see what we need to do when it comes to the physical realm, to utilize the Uranus energy and move. Like a obese person will have a hard time to become aware of his body and his surroundings, so that's gonna leave him easier, you could say, maybe to kill and things of that nature, as opposed to someone who has a lower body count, not lower body count, but have a lower weight and things of that nature.
I get what you mean, absolutely. And it leads to a better performance. Look at the stability of Taurus. You know, once you get to the stage at Leo, if you never found an equilibrium at Taurus, you know, there will be no stable ground for you to express yourself. So you'll definitely run into a lot more problems having you not taken the opportunities that the eclipse season was really showing us in terms of transformation and what we needed to do. So when you're going out to express these things, now just what you're saying, the pressures are familiar, but you know about the transformations that you have needed to done based off of Scorpio season, and now you're starting to get more emotion to expressing that, and now it's it's like the familiar boss battle again, that you're coming back up to, for sure.
But this is also this solid energy for Tuesday, Mars Day, to really actually work and really to like square yourself up, to really like structure yourself for what do you want to do, especially since we're gonna move into the moon in Virgo.
Exactly.
Yeah, to clean things up, solidify it, optimize it.
Exactly, and that's the how we should be using squares. Those situations where like a trine and a sextile may make things move. A trine and a sextile may make things easier, speed things up, but it could really do you dirty or keep you indulgent or keep you stagnant in a certain way because things are actually working. But what squares, it's like one of those situations where where you're going to put yourself, you want to be different, but it's hard to do it. So you put yourself in a situation that forces you to have to make that change. That's what a square does. So that's how we can utilize it to be positive, or else it would just feel like the world is working against us, and we're just experiencing frustrations. Or we can see the frustrations coming and utilize them.
Squares are ruled by Mars, so it's correlated with nervous system. So when you kind of go through that energy as you express your creativity, what's gonna happen is if you're gonna feel like you're exercising. When you exercise, the first thing has to get programmed is your nervous system, because if your nervous system does not know what you do, you're not gonna know you're not gonna know how to program your body and things of that nature.
Exactly, and there will be slower reactions to things if there's not already established neural networks for certain actions and ways of thinking. For sure. So yeah, that's how Tuesday's looking. There's a real, it could be a real challenge, or it could be a real, or it can be a setback, or it can be a positive challenge that really aims to push you forward. So don't run away from that creative expression, or from expressing yourself and staying true to your emotions. Having a little bit of pride, on Tuesday, and utilizing that inner source of fire, your inner source of creativity, to help hold you and deal with the oppositions that'll come with you on Tuesday. For sure, definitely going to be a challenging day. So that's how Tuesday's looking. Looking at Wednesday, November 16th, we have the moon in late degrees Leo, making a sextile with Mars and Gemini. How do you think that's going to happen?
So this is going to be a nice release from all this tension coming off the square, allowing us to really receive messages, or know what did we do right and what did we do wrong from the logical point of view of knowing how did we take our actions and things of that nature. Because Mars right now is in a very intellectual sign, allowing us to take action, allowing us to think and correlate about the action, understand the logical side of things. But having the sextile to Mars in Gemini is allowing us to see the opportunity on the experiences that we did on the stage, to communicate about it, to use it, to develop more information on it.
There's that desire and passion to communicate, or to bring things into words, or to collect information. So it's just just the willingness of the moon in Leo for that creative expression can really help propel that ability for communication. And if you stay honest with that Leo energy of how you want to feel, I'm sure you'll find positive outlets, where you can get into a real good conversation, where because you trusted yourself and you were just in a vibe, and you just honestly expressed how you felt in a situation, that you ended up getting into a conversation that maybe used to be frustrating or would have been combative, but it was allowed for more passionate energy to come out, a more healthy expression of potent energy, and you come up for the better of it, or you realize that you can use it, that if you would express your inner emotions, that they can help work towards something, getting more information, whatever it is, a better conversation, get sparking ideas, whatever it would be. For sure. And then Venus enters into Sagittarius on Wednesday. How do you think we're going to experience all of that?
So now Venus is going to, through the journey of Venus in Scorpio season, right now I'm going through Sagittarius. It's going to be time for us to develop a broader understanding based on all the deep, vulnerable transformation that Venus went through. And Venus is gonna go try to almost go see God, trying to develop a higher spiritual understanding. But it could get quite inflated since we're dealing with the external side of Jupiter, where you might think that you know all about wisdom, knowledge based upon your experiences, but you need more knowledge and wisdom to receive. Hence the Jupiter and Pisces retrograde and things of that nature. So we gotta be careful. But Venus and Sagittarius is gonna be really nice for us to develop optimism since we've been feeling very depressed with the Venus debilitation in Scorpio. Yeah.
Absolutely. Venus in Sagittarius is like Venus going to college or university, where and the tension at home was tight. You know, she was she had to learn to transform, or she was all strict, or she had to deal with all the trauma that's going on with the planets and stuff like that. All the moon's bullshit on the dark side of the moon she doesn't want to talk about. That's been haunting Venus, and in Scorpio when she was dealing with the darker aspects, but in Sagittarius, now she gets to leave behind those old traumas, and is transformed and can expand into the different horizons now. So she can go into a point where she can be who she really wanted to be, or now really obtain higher wisdom through going through those experiences, or just go buck wild and try everything. You know what I mean? And just go and indulge and go into everything. So it's a lot of energy Venus and Sag can get into. A lot of indulgence, but a lot of higher wisdom that can come from indulgence.
You're gonna realize that the more transformation you did, that's gonna allow you to see what type of like experiences, knowledge, and wisdom that could help you like broaden your spaceship and things of that nature, which is important since like Scorpio is like the faculty of transformation, but like Sagittarius has two sides of it. You could develop good tissues based upon your experience, or like bad like negative tissue like inflammation based on a negative experience. That would be like if you didn't do the transformation in Scorpio correctly, but if you do it correctly, then when you go to Sag, then you could develop like healthier, expand your like mentality and things of that nature. But it's very soft development because it's still inflated, the Jupiterian aspect of it, making it very weak.
For
but
sure.
That's what sets it up for Capricorn.
That makes so much sense. What you were saying made me think of, like the inflammation, say somebody overindulging or eating and getting big, or somebody, who's eating right, the healthy aspects to gain weight, and maybe is working out, and then they're growing in size too. It's like two different, where they're both expanding themselves, but one is in a unhealthy expression and one's in a healthy expression. For sure. So yeah, a lot of new opportunities are exposing themselves. It may feel like your ability to connect and experience pleasure may really become freed up and renewed, but really try and focus on the wisdom side of things and not the overindulgence side of things. When you can make new connections and then go into new pleasures that present themselves, and try and go into them with this higher level of understanding. Okay, how can I utilize the most of this, or what experiences are going to provide me the most wisdom in terms of this connection, so you don't create the same trauma and mistakes or vulnerabilities that you had from Scorpio. You don't want to expand those. You want to move past those. So really watch out for that on Wednesday.
And like, we're gonna really enjoy going through Sagittarius season because we're having all this fire energy coming in, since we're having all the Scorpio energy, water, and then having earth energy, really feeling us slowed down, lethargic, not as motivated, not as inspired. So like expect with Sagittarius season, you're gonna feel like much more inspired, much more inflamed in a positive way.
Yeah, we haven't had much fire. I guess Jupiter was in Aries, but
The only thing we have is Karya and
it's been a minute.
yeah, Karya and Aries. Like,
It's been a minute still, for sure. So that's how Wednesday's looking. Looking at Thursday, November 17th. Mercury's making its way into Sagittarius now. How do you think this will play out?
So it's time for Mercury to intellectualize its experience and try to develop like a try to allow itself to develop broad understanding. Mercury does not like to be in Sagittarius since it's a meticulous planet and likes to focus on the details and things of that nature. It like comes from the third house, so it likes to pay attention to its immediate surroundings. But once you take it to like the broader sense of the universe, where like maybe the ninth house is what they say, it lines up with the center of the galaxy. Like what is Mercury is supposed to do. Like it has so much information to communicate about, but it does not know how to go about it. Having the fire element, which is just being mutable in Sagittarius, it does not allow it to be meticulous, be sharp. It's such a broad statement. A statement about freedom, and people may see you very delusional, might see you very spiritual, but you might be able to uplift people, like the leader of the Catholic Church. You might be able to create a position like him and things of that nature.
Absolutely. Um, Mercury and Sag is like prime foot in your mouth type energy for sure. Saying a little bit too much because there's so much information, yeah, for sure. And that's why the tarot card for Mercury and Sag, I think it's like the Eight of Wands, where it's like the ladders. It's like Jacob's ladder. It's Jacob's ladder in my tarot deck, which is interesting. But it's like the mind, and then heaven or the higher mind. But it really is like that. It's like trying to talk about God, or like say Jacob telling you the story of him seeing the ladder and God's angel. You're like, nigga, shut the fuck up. But if you were there with the nigga, or if you had the vision or the experience too, there would be no words. There's the higher understanding. So it's like, how are you going to? So that's the bridge or the struggle Mercury goes through in Sag, because it's like this experience was so significant because of all the details, for sure, experienced as a whole. But how do you go and break apart the little details that made the experience as a whole, which it kind of does coincide, but it's using a small scope to look at a mural, a giant mural. You'll never be able to, or it's hard. You'll forget about what you had looked at over there and stuff like that, and that's what makes it seem, like fleeting energy, where your mind may be going all over the place, like you split yourself in a whole bunch of different directions that go on forever, and where you can really get wild and with Mercury and Sagittarius. I wonder this it may even be some serial killer type stuff. Well, not even serial killer, but crazy or mental illness or something like that, where, or like severe ADHD or something like that, where the mind has so much territory for it to go and cross, so international, not even just specific and local, where we can get lost. So keeping that in mind on Thursday, even on Jupiter Day, where the conversation can get so broad now, that you may be in a lot of needless conversations or endless conversations. So it's important to see the meaning behind the conversation that you're in, and know that the journey's worth it before you go down that road, because there may not be anything at the end of that rainbow, or at the end of that bow shot. You may not hit your target.
And it's gonna be like a great period of time to actually try to logically justify your belief system and like your highest understanding. That's the beauty about it. Even though it's debilitating here, it's forcing you to be logical on the way you go about speaking about these things. So people might end up respecting you, even though it's debilitating. You might think, I'm not having enough energy here, but it's forcing you to learn on how to do these things at your weakest kind of point.
For sure. It's funny. My Mercury is like 29 degrees Scorpio, which is funny. It's like just almost Mercury in Sagittarius, and I do feel the energy a lot. Definitely. Looking at Moon in Virgo, making a trine with the North Node and Uranus in Taurus. How do you think that alignment's gonna hit?
So right now we're gonna go from emotionally expressing our vision, imagination, self-expression, into trying to optimize and then focus on the details of what makes up our self-expression, or what leads us to our self-expression. We're gonna focus on developing our health, focus on our work, our routine pattern, and maybe try to be cynical, and try to be careful on how you apply that cynical energy. since it's important to worry about what do we want to do, since we're dealing here with Pluto and Capricorn, and we understand that's a heavy energy that you might need to worry about if you're watching everything that's happening with economics. So maybe the moon in Virgo might be the needed energy that you need, especially with Mercury and Venus going to Sagittarius, making you a little bit too broad. So having the moon in Virgo might ground you a little bit, and that trine might make you really have those opportunities presented for you to really go work and develop what you need to do when it comes to physical stability in Taurus.
For sure, for sure. I can see after the moon being in Leo, where you're supposed to express yourself, you express what you want. If things didn't follow suit, or maybe certain emotions didn't get met, I can still see you slipping into the cynical, feel like feeling, having more emotions like, why aren't people doing this, or why aren't people doing that, or why aren't I feeling like this, and really getting real cynical and snippy about it, instead of utilizing your emotions and how you feel about where the efficiency is lacking and what areas need more focus, and really making sense out of the information that your feelings and emotions are giving you. Instead, you're using it to spite people or to spite yourself, to worry more. That's not what it's going to be about on Thursday, because there's a real opportunity for you to take advantage of, just like what you were saying with the Uranus and North Node energy, where really take note of how you feel, and making sense out of that, because it's all about applying your emotions to your physical actions that really lead to manifestations, where you can be doing physical things but without attention, or without that emotional resonance with it, you're not really going to develop or grow, or really absorb the experience. If you're not emotionally involved when you're doing something, it's not going to become muscle memory.
Yeah.
You have to be emotionally involved,
Like
attach the emotion.
you'll be surprised on how much energy you could tap into when you tap into your emotion and things of that nature. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how fast you can get things done.
Which a lot of people, if you're into physical sport, you might be so lost in the masculine side of it, you forget that the emotional part of it actually would lead into like a better physical results and things of that nature. I'm pretty sure everybody who's good at their sport, they're emotionally obsessed at it.
Look at Kobe Bryant's one example, but I think a better example is Michael Jordan, because he's someone who's clearly not happy. You know what I mean? He's someone who's clearly very emotional, and he carried his back, his reputation on his back. He was so ready to battle all the time, carried his heart on his sleeve, all the time. It was like ultimate. Like Capricorn type energy, like Moon and Capricorn type energy is which is crazy. But yeah, look, but that was his fuel. Like it was so easy to fuel his fire, his emotions like that. But yeah, look what type of physical results. His athleticism was off the charts because you can do stuff like that, and that's real. So that's the opportunity that's presenting itself to us on Thursday, to making sense out of our emotions, so we can do that, so we can focus on the North Node in Uranus with healthy emotions, with structured emotions that make sense, that don't lead to worrying, because now we're not working efficiently, especially with Taurus. Taurus energy is either I'm working at it stable and consistently, and I have the endurance, or I'm not touching it at all. I'm sleeping, I'm in my PJs, or I'm not touching. It's lazy energy at all, or it's consistent. You know what I mean? So if you're worrying and holding back and reserving, you're not moving. You're not being consistent.
Exactly. The moon in Virgo is that nice touch-up that you need to digest, so you get that energy to go utilize your second house to speak about your value and what you want to manifest.
And then there's the in conjunction with Saturn in Aquarius with the moon in Virgo. Right?
So definitely watch out that you don't become, like I said earlier, too cynical of the details and like what's happening and what you need to do in terms of health and routine or pattern, because you might forget the bigger detail when it comes to your associate and what's happening when it comes to collective pictures and things of that nature. Sometimes if you have a Virgo energy, you may develop a lot of criticism to people who run the system, but you may not understand that there's a price you have to pay when you have to continuously like run a company and things of that. And not everything is gonna be covered, but like as we go, we could cover like everything. But this is why they end up hiring the Virgo. It's not like the other way around.
Absolutely. It's funny because both Aquarius and Virgo have a self-sacrificing nature to them, but they go about it in different ways. Where Aquarius is more like abandoning the idea of self and joining the collective, and Virgo's more so being of service, being of use. You know what I mean? Being of purpose or efficiency, if you get what I mean. So
I remember those speak about how they're similar in the sense of that Virgo is the only Earth sign that's ruled by an air-like planet, Mercury, and then you got Aquarius is like an air sign ruled by an Earth-like planet, Uranus. So it's like that's like kind of a very Saturn too. So it's like it's very interesting. They try to ground their thoughts and ideas, which takes a lot of energy. While Virgo,
and they're both people.
Exactly, we're dealing with
the Virgin and then the water bearer.
Exactly. So somehow they're different, but somehow they're alike at the same time.
Interesting. So yeah, that's how Thursday's gonna look. A real opportunity to apply your emotions to the real physical things that you're doing in the world to gain stability. So yeah, that's Thursday. Looking at Friday, we have on the 18th, the moon is conjunct Ceres in Virgo. How do you think that's gonna happen?
So Ceres is gonna provide. It's an asteroid. It's gonna provide you more energy to worry about what you need to do in terms of your details and your practicality and how you could be broad about these things. But like try not to be too cynical, because that in conjunction might make you too emotional about it, and then now your stomach is gonna hurt. You're too worried. You're gonna create butterfly within your system, especially with that trying to Pluto in Capricorn. You're trying to handle all this energy coming from Pluto, death, power and control issues, transformation. And we've been going through this Pluto and Capricorn for a long time, especially at the late degrees right now at 26 degree Capricorn, I believe. So you want to definitely learn how to handle these opportunities, because they can be good opportunities to prepare yourself when Pluto goes into Aquarius. But learn not to worry too much on things of that nature. And then you're having the sextile to Lilith in Cancer is going to allow you to see the necessary opportunity that you need on how you can incorporate your vulnerabilities at home into what you did so far in terms of like a practical experience. And when the moon right now going through Virgo, to really take your experiences from home and really practicalize it and create a routine around how you could deal about how to deal with work, how to deal with family, how to deal with vulnerabilities, how to deal with these knowledge and wisdom and high understanding that you're receiving right now from Mercury and Venus going to Sagittarius.
Absolutely, the moon is kind of like acting like as a bridge, kind of cooling down that Lilith in Cancer and Pluto in Capricorn are creating like a bridge for that understanding to develop, for sure. Because once you make sense out of your feelings and emotions, allows you to take the Pluto energy and really let go and submit to an experience or a transformation or what needs to be done, in order to create stability, because you already know you made sense out of your emotions of where most efficiency was going to go to. So it helps further, you taking power control in your life. Of the role that you play within the world. Absolutely. Yeah, just like Thursday, Thursday and Friday with this moon in Virgo, there's a lot of opportunity coming up. Especially, it'll be making a sextile with the sun, in Scorpio. So a lot of opportunity to really process the feelings and emotions that we have come to. And if we don't get too stuck into that a cynical mindset of judging, we may really develop a real, genuine understanding of how we feel and how we can best move forward with our emotions.
Hmm.
And that's Friday, the 18th. Looking at Saturday, we have the moon in the early degrees of Libra, sextiling Mercury and Venus in Sagittarius. How do you think this is going to end?
So we're gonna have the moon right now in early Libra. This is gonna allow us to emotionally rationalize what type of relationships that we need to initiate for the further development when it comes to like because eventually we're gonna try Saturn Aquarius. So this is gonna present us with the opportunity to further develop our associate. But first we're gonna focus on that balancing aspect, which is gonna create a sextile, allow us to see opportunity with the knowledge and wisdom that we're receiving so far from Mercury, Venus, and Sagittarius, and definitely having that opposition to Jupiter in Pisces is allowing us to see how can we expand when it comes to our dreams and illusions before we go into Jupiter. When it goes to direct into Jupiter in Aries, where we're gonna fight. But first, let's take this time to balance our relationships.
For sure. This could be a real potential time to, for sure, broaden your horizons, get into relationships that you never expected that you would have got into, or receive pleasure and enjoyment and connection in places that you may not have thought you could get to, or that didn't offer that to you before, but through the transformations, had given way to more of a healthy expression or a healthy connection. Absolutely. I think the moon in Libra is like the two of swords in tarot, where it's the person's blind and holding the two swords there. And it's talking about like kind of like blind trust or blind, faith, and kind of like conformity, but not in a bad way. It's like a blending of energies, or it could be in a bad way too. But there's a lot of openness with the moon in Libra, where they need other people, where there's a real need for external interaction. But with Scorpio season, that's and that's Libra energy, going out, being the romantic. And Scorpio may be when you recline back, because it didn't go too well. So that could create like a level of anxiety if you haven't been doing the transformations and confronting your vulnerabilities. You're gonna have a desire to want to connect with people, or to be open to something, or to not take something serious, but you're holding on to all of that serious energy so heavy that it feels wrong to do that. You got to let that shit go, and trust into that pulling feeling. The feeling the moon in Libra gives to trust, the feeling moon in Libra gives to make this partnership. You need somebody else. You know what I mean? Now's not the time to do this by yourself. Now's the time to speak up, or to say something, or to join with someone else. So definitely see, especially since all of the Sagittarius energy is going there. It's expanding all of these horizons. So you never know, and think other people, everybody's feeling optimistic. So that could really be received, even if you are holding on to certain things that you haven't quite transformed or able to let go. The optimism in the air may really be able to help you, and the calm reception that you feel may help you, forget those things, and know that there's broader horizons. For sure. And then the moon's opposing Jupiter in Pisces.
So you're gonna have to learn how to initiate a relationship, but around like your dreams or illusion, then the other way around, where you want to initiate relationship just for the sake of relationship, which what the moon in Libra might make you do, be a little bit too friendly, might make you forget all the work that you did as Jupiter went through Pisces, which is important since Jupiter's gonna go direct. You don't wanna initiate new relationship that's gonna slow you down, slow you from your dreams or illusions and these things. But you might not understand it since it's an opposition. It's so further out in distance that you don't understand the potential on how they could destroy like what you want to do.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say that because that's what oppositions are. They're sextiles because this is well, it would have been, like Earth, like within Virgo, or fire and air, but oppositions are generally sextiles that are too far for reach. Where it's an opportunity, but it seems too far. Uh, for sure. So yeah, that's how Saturn Day is looking. A real feeling of openness and exploration. But just like what Harold was trying to say, don't forget to tap into the wisdom of your past experiences and to know that your subconscious mind is in play, or to remember the playing factor of your subconscious mind. And so you don't get lost into the fluff of moon and Libra, but you're still reminding yourself that there's a behind the scene energy that's influencing you to even feel this way in general. But still be open with that feeling and explore, but be in the mindset of obtaining wisdom from that experience. And that is Saturn Day. Looking at Sunday, the November 20th, the moon in Libra is going to be opposite Chiron in Aries. How do you think that's going to end?
So it's gonna be major learning opportunity on the way you kind of use your emotion to deal with your relationship and get harmony in these things. But learn how to initiate relationship around how you mean like your vulnerabilities comes to self-expression, or like what you're trying to heal comes to Chiron in Aries, which might prevent you from initiating certain relationships that you need in your life. And then you're also having the square to Pluto in Capricorn. You're under the demand for business to go to get that bag. So the moon in Libra can allow you to just have fluff talk, but again you can have talk that's gonna waste your time, waste Pluto and Capricorn time, and also that's gonna damage Chiron and Aries further in line. You want that type of communication, those relationship. This is gonna heal Chiron and Aries, even though it's an opposition. You wanna build a relationship around these concepts, Chiron and Aries or Pluto and Capricorn.
Know that your sense of self is injured, and is prone to make mistakes. So don't be going to creating relationships that are already going to undermine your sense of individuality, or take away from your responsibilities at large with Pluto and Capricorn, for sure. But it's also a challenge because sometimes Pluto and Capricorn, what's preventing you from taking power control of the role that you play. A lot of times Capricorn can be too dry and not take in friendship as an accountability or conversation. So the moon in Libra, that openness for relationship, will help you see where business and play can cross, where friendship plays a crucial role and could play a crucial role in business. And when you approach business in a lighter aspect, sometimes you get a little bit more progression. So that's the challenge, to see how to incorporate these things. How do you be kind? How do you be involving? How do you be open and yet still get things done at the same time?
Especially like Pluto and Capricorn, and it made us like live in a time of like being cutthroat, extremely dry. So having the moon in Libra is like having a nice breathe. It's like having that nice conversation and things of that nature.
Absolutely. And then it's making a trine with Saturn and Aquarius. So that goes on to what we were saying, teamwork makes the dream work,
And like It's giving you the necessary squares to know what to do. Hey, remember your vulnerabilities that comes to your self-expression. Car in Aries. Remember your business. You want to get the bag. Pluto in Capricorn. But now you got this strength, the opportunities to really dive in the energy of Saturn Aquarius to initiate balance when it comes to your associate. Because Saturn Aquarius made us go very hard when it comes to association. We might even rebel against our own associate. So having that necessary energy of Moon in Libra coming once in a while to have this nice breeze, this nice conversation to let our associate know it's not that dry, it's not that serious, not everything gotta be progressive. Revolting and things of that nature. It could be much more communicative, harmonious.
Absolutely, absolutely. For sure. A peaceful protest, you know what I mean?
That's perfect, yo. That fits the United States themes like in so many ways.
Real shit, bro. Real shit. Real shit. That's what's going on. For sure. So, for sure, on Sunday, there's a real opportunity to, push you into openness with your emotions, to communicate about your emotions, to connect with people based off of your emotions. And it's going to be a challenge to make that be seen practical. But Saturn in Aquarius is helping you because right now teamwork is the dream work. So for sure, don't run away even though you see the challenge, and being kind, kill them with kindness. Come with that energy on Sunday, because you'll start to see that, especially with the trine, you're gonna catch more flies with honey when you're using that sweetness, that sweet approach, and that open approach. That's kind of the benefit of Moon in Libra, where you're not coming with exterior motives yet, because you don't even know how you can relate to the situation. So there's a lot of more genuine openness to things. So stay true to that, and you'll be able to find your way through that challenge of making practicality come out of your relationships, and openness to start the conversation.
Like a lot of people, like when you look at the tarot card for Libra, it's the scales, but it's not only the scales, it's the sword too. So like people forget that the aspect of like creating balance and things of that nature. Once you get once you get too friendly, you gotta be like friendly in a structured way, which is kind of funny.
Absolutely. And that's the energy of the week. Guys, hope you handle the energies good. I hope you liked the video. Like and subscribe if you fucked with it. Follow us on Instagram, Truspace_. Follow us or check out our website, Truspace.biz. Hit us up for astrology readings, or just to check out all the stuff that we got there, all the information. Ask us questions, DM us, or whatever. What would you like to see? What would you like to hear? We're open to all different types of conversations. But thanks for your time.
Take care.